You know, it's been so long since I've made a video of any type dealing with politics or what the hell is going on in this country. And the biggest reason for it is because you just get burnt out. You know, I got so tired of seeing everybody from every side screaming and yelling and accusing the other of doing the very same thing that they were doing. And, you know, it just wasn't worth it. So I really hadn't been active on Twitter or social media other than Facebook and Instagram, but pretty much just general stuff, you know, traveling, photos. You know, when I decided to turn the old neighborhood in Cocoa around since nobody else wanted to. Doing something that actually felt good, that gave you purpose, and that actually did something for everybody else. And it was a great experience. It really was. And I'm not sure why I started paying attention to what was going on Twitter recently. But guys, ladies, gentlemen, this shit's got to stop. And it's not Republicans, MAGA, far left AOC supporters, moderates, independents. It's everybody. I'm looking at it. And what's so sad is all of you are doing exactly what I warned this nation about in 2008 when the Obama-Biden campaign actually perfected this strategy of always going after, attacking, and keeping the narrative in a different direction than on the one it needed to be on. Look, I don't care who you support in the upcoming elections, and to be honest with you, nobody should care who you or anybody else supports anyway. Because the bottom line is everybody has the right to support who they want to. If a bunch of idiots, and yes, I said that, and I know I'm going to piss off some friends of mine and supporters of mine, but they also know me well enough to know that I speak my mind. And I'm not saying anything in this video that I haven't said since the 2016 election. So I'm going to say it again. If a bunch of idiots want to actually guarantee Joe Biden, if in fact Biden's actually on the ticket next year, not only re-election, but to guarantee that independents and moderates on both sides of the aisle actually vote on the Democratic side of the ticket in 2024 in numbers never seen in this country's history, and turns around and makes the United States a one-party nation for years to come, then, you know, be my guest, but understand something. When that happens, sit your ass down and shut the hell up and don't cry, because you were the ones that insisted that Donald Trump is the man for the job. Donald Trump has the balls to say what's on his mind, and sometimes that's not a good thing. And believe me when I tell you The only reason I even tweeted to him when he was in office and said, dude, you need to stop responding to every tweet, because I myself got caught up in that in 2008, thinking that I had to respond to every idiot posting lies and defamatory claims on YouTube and on Facebook and on all these different blogs. And I got so entrenched in thinking that I needed to respond and defend against every accusation that even the person posting knew was false, that it took away from what was actually happening. So I don't do that anymore. I haven't done it for years. But on the same token, I've gotten first-hand experience and I've been able to see from a front row center seat, how political consultants and politicians and campaigns, knowingly ignore people that are associated with them that are actually ripping people off and doing things that they really shouldn't be doing, especially when you're trying to gain the public's trust. So that's why I kind of backed out. But I'm telling you, these threats and attacks that's going on online, it wasn't cool when it started in 2008. It's not cool now. And Democrats who are screaming and saying that you're being victimized with it, you know what? You didn't have a problem with it when it was you guys doing it to someone who had the balls to speak out and just ask Barack Obama to be truthful. But you guys couldn't accept that. You couldn't understand that. So what you had to do was you had to destroy the person, and in doing that, you attacked and you made false claims, a crap load of them. But you didn't just attack me. You went after my family. You went after my friends. You went after people that, even though I didn't even know who they were, you went after them because you thought they were associated with me at some point in time in my life. So you don't get to do that for 8 years and then complain and scream that you're being victimized by idiots that you say are Trump supporters that are threatening you, harassing you, stalking you. Now, you may be correct. There may in fact be a bunch of Trump supporters dumb enough to put themselves out there like that. And if they are, then they deserve what they get. But I'm also going to make clear that everybody understands, when it was being done to me, not only were you coming after me, but you were going after prosecutors, judges, law enforcement agencies, elected officials, and you were actually going after them and making it appear as if I was the one that was sending them to them. So people need to be very careful, one, in saying that person X or person Y or person Z sent you this threat or made this harassing, threatening phone call, blah, 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 because I'm telling you, I've got discs of documented incidences where the very people who were claiming that they were being threatened and harassed were the ones sending those threats and harassments using anonymous email servers back then. One guy actually had discovered a way to actually modify the IP address in the actual email header. But don't, just because you get something that says it's a Trump supporter, don't necessarily take that and put it out unless you can back it up, because I'm going to tell you, I guarantee you, a lot of what you're getting, either you or somebody you know actually sent it to you. And they do that because it keeps the pot stirred. But I'm telling everybody, MAGA Trump supporters, stop the threats, stop the stalking, stop the harassment. You're not doing Trump any favors, and you're really not doing conservatives any favors in any way, shape, or form. And you're definitely not doing the country any favors. Democrats, stop turning around and playing the race card all the time. Stop turning around and blaming Republicans or conservatives for what individuals do. Stop claiming that you're being victimized with the same strategy that you guys actually perfected and introduced into the public realm. So you don't get to have it both ways. And you don't get to attack people and then complain because people attack you. You know, conservatives, never Trumpers, the same thing. Come on. Are you really benefiting your candidate or your choice for the nominee with this back and forth with Trumpers or MAGAs or whatever people are calling themselves these days? I don't even know anymore. But I am just telling you, it really has got, oh my God, has it got to stop. And all of these mainstream media journalists and left pundits that continue to reference civil war and ask where all the Trump supporters are, how come they're not in the street, you know, with their guns. Stop it. Why are you intentionally trying to provoke an idiot to doing something? And you're going to do that, and I wouldn't be surprised if you end up provoking an idiot that's on your side of the aisle. Look back over history, it's happened multiple times. The only difference is you don't report it as aggressively as you do when it happens on the conservative side of the line. But I don't care about that anymore either. Because if people don't utilize the resources that they have at their disposal to do their own research, to come to their own conclusions, and I mean do your research, don't just Google something and take the first 3, 4, 5, 6 pages that comes up. Because Google, Wikipedia, these are not sources of truth. You have to dig through it to find the truth. And Google makes it clear. They don't say that anything that they have compiled in their databases is truthful. That wasn't their purpose. And Wikipedia is as subjective to the individual that's actually inputting the information. So, just, guys, I'm serious. Do you really want your kids in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years to look back on old YouTube videos and internet posts and see your name written across this crap? You know, it's funny. One of my very best friends is probably one of the most ardent Barack Obama supporters that has ever come out. And she was also targeted by the left when they were attacking me because they sent all of my neighbors these letters and postcards. And I love her to death, and she knows I would give my life for her in a heartbeat. And the funny thing is we can actually discuss politics and policy and not be disrespectful to each other, not get into heated debates with each other, and not make it personal, and still go out to dinner or balloon festivals or just drive down the highway and act stupid, which I'm really good at doing. Everyone is entitled to their opinions and their beliefs. There's nothing that says that everyone's opinions or beliefs are accurate, are appropriate, but you're entitled to them. But what you're not entitled to do is to push those in any way, shape, or form onto anyone else, or to become aggressive and threatening and rude and disrespectful to people who don't necessarily have the same opinions and beliefs as you. When I was a teenager, I was in a program called Vision Quest. And I've started reflecting on something, because I always said over the last 15 years, there has to be a way that the two sides can see things from angles that brings them to common ground. And then it hit me recently. One of the premises of the program in Vision Quest was based on the Plains Indians. And the Plains Indians had this ritual where there was a tribe circle. And one of the emphasis on the circle was that no matter what was in the center of the circle, every individual that made up the circle, the outer circle, from their angle, saw it differently. So rather than say it's either black, white, right, left, why don't you start proposing your viewpoints or your debates or your engagements with people by presenting them in a manner that actually approaches the circle view, meaning that from your standpoint in this circle, this is what you see, but you would really be interested in hearing and seeing what another person sees from another angle, from another spot in the circle, and get a dialogue going in that manner. And I think you will find that we really can begin to discuss even some of the most ardent, hardened issues that everybody has been beating everybody over the head with. Look, I'm just me. I'm just Larry Sinclair. I'm going to be the same person I've always been. And like I say on all of my posts, it's my opinion. It's my words, nobody else's. I'm not representing anyone else. But I will tell you that you can have a political philosophy, you can have a political position without it becoming so vile and so slimy and so angry that you cut yourself off from people who, if you actually gave them a chance, you might find that you have more in common with than you thought. But if you guys want to keep doing it, I can't stop you. In fact, nobody can. But I'm telling you, it's not going to end well. And if people don't actively and sincerely move to stop doing this, it's only going to get worse. And pretty soon, we really will be a socialist dictated country. And every one of us that engages in this type of activity and behavior anymore will have a part of fault in bringing it to that point. So, again, that's my thoughts. And I'm doing this video to say it because I'm just dumbfounded at some of the parents of this very strategy. David Axelrod, for one, and his tweets and his attacks and his comments. I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever. Believe me, if you ever make the mistake or decide that you need to speak out on something and you make political enemies, especially in the federal government, you're going to find that you're not excluded from becoming a target. You are not immune from having a completely fabricated criminal history all of a sudden appear in the FBI's NCIC database. Don't think for a minute that any of these activities that have taken place over the last 15 years, and probably even longer, don't for a second think that they're exclusive to one party or the other, because they're not. May you have a pleasant evening, and guys, we've got to do better.